Bonjour, kia ora, welcome into the Chew the Fat team, hors d'oeuvres. That's what we're calling a look at Paris 24 and the athletics program. Thoroughly enjoying the action and a concentration today on the Kiwis from the last 24 hours. I'm Mark Rosanowski and with me Olympian Tony Rogers. Let's go to the pole vault first and foremost, Tony. Quite a convoluted story for people who didn't see it, but the bottom line is there will be a final field of 20, and all three of the New Zealanders, McCartney, McTaggart, and Eris, will be in the final.
Yeah, it's a lot of drama when it comes to countback situations. We had it give us a benefit in the pole vault, but not in the men's discus. But yeah, 20 in the final. We've got all three through. But we've got to say probably Eliza McCartney looked the best of our three. She definitely got the higher height. And her training partner, Molly Caudry, one of the two real hot favourites, her and Nina Kennedy from Australia, will be kicking herself. She didn't take a shot at 440 because there was 9 athletes all had their first time clearance at 440, making it through because they can't split them. So they'll be starting with 20. It'll be a big competition.
It will be 5 o'clock Thursday morning. It's going to go for hours. I mean, even the warm up will take a serious amount of time. Eliza McCartney got over a second attempt at 4:55. There are 11 women who got over the 4:55, and then the 9 first clearance 4:40. Olivia McTaggart, Imogen Eris amongst them. Yes, Tony, you mentioned the discus there. Young Connor Bell, 23 years of age, at his first Olympics, been a Youth Olympics champion from memory, but he ended up aiming obviously for the top 12. He ended up 13th with the same distance as the 12th placed Alex Rose of Samoa, but losing out there on countback to miss the final excruciatingly.
Yep, the Oceania record holder, Rose from Samoa, edged his fellow Oceania athlete out with that second best throw. So to the second best throw, and of course Connor, they only have the 3 throws, and his wasn't quite superior. He'd pushed it out hard at the end, but wasn't enough to overcome the fellow Oceania athlete Rose from Samoa to get that 12th spot. So yeah, disappointment there. Whereas the girls in the pole vault had the advantage. So yeah.
Yeah, and of course, we remember back to the World Champs last year at Budapest, where Connor Bell squeezed into the top 12 and ultimately finished 10th. Nonetheless, we can look forward to upcoming assignments for Connor in 4 years' time, of course, in LA. It's with a heavy heart we report on the 3,000 metre steeplechase heats this morning, Tony, because we did expect Geordie Beamish to be able to make his way through to the final. He had to make top 5 in his heat. He was the third of 3 heats there. He ultimately finished 7th. I guess it's easy for us to theorise from here, but your thoughts on the race?
Yeah, obviously heat 3 there was no time qualifiers, so it had to be the top 5, and it was ironical. We know he's got a great finish, and he comes from well back in the field, and he paces himself through pretty well on the first 2K. But yeah, all we can say is he left it a little bit late, or underestimated how much speed everyone else had in their legs when it came to that final kick home over the last lap, and only getting up to 7th. Looked like he was going to come through at one stage, but as we know, when the race is a bit slower, everyone's running faster at the end if they've got it left in their legs. So bad luck or disappointment really, because but we know also that earlier in the summer he had a bit of a niggle. So whether that's just affected his conditioning and he underestimated everything, I'm not sure.
Yeah, certainly been a bit of a pattern. We have had some injuries to the athletics squad going into this games. However, we're going to look forward, Tony, because tonight Maya Ramsden will step out in the 1,500 metre heats for women, and she has had a stellar year. She was added fairly late in the piece to this team, but she's earned her spot. Your thoughts on Maya first time at the Olympic Games, which is obviously it's a bit of a cauldron, Stade de France, no doubt about that.
Certainly is, and she got a late call up to go to World Indoors, and she managed to squeeze herself into the finals there. So, but this is a different kettle of fish. She's only ranked 40th in the world on outdoor or on her performances. Top 6 go through from the 3 heats, and then there'll be another 6 come from the repechage. So she'll get a second chance if she needs to. Let's hope she doesn't, because she's done a fair bit of racing already in a college system in America, of course, plus a couple of good races outside that to get to Paris. Um, there's 3 athletes in the top 10 in her race, and I think about 5 or 6 that have gone under 4 minutes. So if she can run close to 4 minutes, run a personal best, she's got every chance of making the top 6. And I think it's a bit of a bonus. She's got the number 1 ranked Faith Kipyagan, who had a bit of a disastrous effort in the 5,000 in her race. So hopefully she'll make that race true and clean, and she'll get every chance to make the top 6.
Yeah, certainly hoping so. She's in heat number 2. As Tony said, top 6 go through. There are 15 in each heat. That heat is timed for 8:17 this evening, New Zealand time. Tony, righto, time for a wrap on what has been, a phenomenal session. It's hard to know where to start. I suppose we've got to start with a world record, don't we, in the pole vault? The Swede that just keeps on giving. Mondo Duplantis, he set a new Olympic record at 6:10. Then he bumps it up 15 centimetres, and at his third attempt, I mean, it almost seemed written. It's like the script was written, Tony.
Absolute drama, wasn't it? And he's able to do this. It's just something. He's a world class performer. That's what we've got to say about him. Whether he's track and field or whatever discipline he might do, he's got that nice swagger about him. It's not over the top, but man, he was delighted to do that. He was delighted to get the Olympic record, because that, I'm not sure who held that, but probably Sergei Bubka, the great Russian from the past, or Ukrainian, I think, as he is nowadays. But yeah, and then to come out and edge his own world record. I think that's the 9th world record he's done, to run, jumping 625 or vaulting 625. Phenomenal, with all that pressure, 70,000 people watching you, and they definitely were rewarded for the money they paid to get in there to see those finals in the evening session in Paris last night.
On the track, Keely Hodgkinson in the 800 metres for Great Britain, running from the front, looking to take a string of silver and turn it into gold. Tony thought it was courageous to take it from the front. You know better than I do how tough that is, but she just looked in control the whole way.
Yeah, controlling 800-meter running from the front is the way to do it. And as long as you're not forcing at the front, because you're getting a cleaner run, and she edged herself up onto the front quite early and made sure that she got that, nice position. And then she put the pressure on every time someone was moving up to her down the back straight. She just kept keeping the pace on, solid and strong. And then, yeah, it was a pretty phenomenal kick. I was a bit worried for her coming around with 100 to go, but she put in that little kick. Almost reminded me of a Sebastian Coe kick I saw once at Crystal Palace, when it looked like he was going to get beaten, and he just suddenly pushed it on him like that and got the edge. And that was fantastic for her. Great to see her come 20 years on from Athens, where she emulated Kelly Holmes's victory, and what it'll be 60 years since Anne Packer won the 800 in Tokyo for Britain. So yeah, it's a bit of good event for the Brits from the women 800.
Yes, certainly. Now, you touched on the 5,000 earlier with Kip Yegon, because she was the favourite for that. Now, she got gunned down by fellow Kenyan Beatrice Chebet. And Kip Yegon, well, you can talk us through it, because she has got the silver medal, Tony, but it wasn't as straightforward as that. Chebet, first and foremost, though, she's going to back up in the 10K, and she's world record holder there now, isn't she? But she gunned down Kip Yegon, but there was a fair bit of drama in the race.
Yeah, so there was some drama. I think it was about 2 and a bit laps to go. Thege, the Ethiopian girl, who was actually my pick, she's a pretty well decorated athlete to come through and at least medal. She went to the front because it wasn't a fast pace. I mean, they only ran like 3:10 for their first K, which means they were on 15:30 pace. So over the last 4K of the race, they got it down to 14:30 pace. So that was in a very fast last 1K. Yeah, so Sige came through, must have edged a little bit too quick in front of Kip Yegon maybe, and then Kip Yegon gave her a fair whack in the chest, so to speak. And that's what I believe she got disqualified originally for. They posted the results after the disqualification with the Italian girl coming through and getting the bronze instead of being fourth. And now, obviously, there was an appeal, and the appeal's been upheld, and the results as they cross the line stand. So, yeah, Kip Yegon created a bit of drama. The 1,500-meter world record holder, first lady to go under 350. So yeah, that was something to watch for sure. These women who do a bit of pushing and shoving like the men, and let's hope that's not what happens in the men's 1,500 tomorrow.
Yeah, certainly. So it's amazing. Chibet off to the 10,000 and Kip Yegon down to the 1,500. And then Maya Ramsden's heat, as Tony mentioned a little earlier on. And the other gold medal this morning was the women's discus to the USA. Tony, with Valerie Allman, and really outstanding series of throws, actually, the biggest of them, 69.50.
Yeah, she definitely deserved it, and yeah, she looked in great form. Her delivery was fantastic in the circle every time, really, and yeah, once again, the old countback situation. We had Feng and well, I call her Perkovic because her name's easier to say, her maiden name, who's the most decorated discus thrower woman of all time. I think, being a double Olympic champion. They had the same performance, but Perkovic then was trying so hard she fouled out after that. So the Chinese lady had the second best throw, so she gets the silver ahead of Perkovic. So countbacks are a real thing, and there was some countback scenarios, and we did mention in the men's pole vault for the silver, and well, particularly for the bronze medal there, where the Greek Corrales outgunned the Filipino Obini, just because he of a miss at 580 versus a 585. So yeah, countback is really important strategy for these field event athletes.
And so we look forward to the next 24 hours. Maya Ramsden, the Kiwi, that's going to be prominent in Stade de France. But in terms of the other races, Tony, well, the men's 1500 metre final is tomorrow morning. Just checking that time. What is it? 6:50 our time. It is a must watch. Now, I wonder what it's like for you. 40 years on from running the final in LA. How do you feel when you're sitting there watching this race unfold before you?
Well, you get pretty nervous. Probably do a toilet triple two like I used to. No, it's exciting because you want to see what history's going to unfold, and it was interesting. People always ask me what it was like, and I even had um, one of my athletes text me, one of the young guys I've been coaching for some years, just asking me about the number of days in a row that we had to compete, because these guys had a day off, and I can never really work out whether it's harder to have a day off in between the semi-finals and the finals, or to go bang, bang, bang like we did in our day heat semi-final consecutive days, because the emotions are up then the whole time. And I remember the most difficult thing was about actually trying to get some sleep each night because of the excitement of the next day. And then of course you're competing in the evening around 8:30 at night, 9 o'clock, and you have long days. So yeah, you're living on adrenaline. These guys will be living on adrenaline. I don't care what you say, how calm they are. The favourites, they'll be feeling it. So it's about their prep, but it's about staying in the moment. And yeah, interesting final. There's 12 fairly talented athletes across the board. No one can say anyone doesn't deserve their place in there. We know who the two big guns are. The TAB's telling us that. I think $1.75 for Ingebrigtsen and $2, I think you said, Mark, for Josh Kerr. But I think there's a lot of chances in there to claim an upset. Ironically, as well, I noticed there's only in today's distance world, there's only two Africans in there, two Kenyans. That's Brian Coman, who is actually my bronze medal pick to come through. He's been looking big and strong, and he's young as well, so he'll have no fear. And then Tim Cheriot, I think it is, the other Kenyan, if I've got the names right there now. So yeah, but some talent from Europe in this particular race in particular, plus the three Americans in there, Hocker, Hobbs, Kessler, and I'm trying to think of the third. I think there's a third one in there. Well, might be only two Americans for now. But yeah, so it's a great field of 12, and let's hope it's a clean race, and there's not too much drama like we had in the women's 5,000 this morning. We don't want any of that, because at this pace they're running, it'll definitely knock anyone's chances.
Yeah, Kessler, the other USA runner there. So there is a third, Tony. That's going to be a great contest. Also on the track, the 200 metres women's final. Julian Alfred looking for the double, but she's the second favourite to Thomas, who remains hot favourite. And I think your top selection too, Tony.
Yeah, I think Gabby Thomas is. I mean, she's got the fastest time in the world this year, from memory, unless it's changed in recent days or two. But and she's fresher. She's only concentrated on the 200. Alfred, as classy as she is, she's got a lot to live up. They're both looking fantastic in the semi-finals, but I think the way in which Thomas ran hers, she just looked so much more comfortable and fresher. So that'll be good. And I'm picking one of the Brits maybe to get up there for the bronze, either Daryl Nita or Deanna Asher Smith. Both of them are sort of in the top three or four qualifiers. And obvious chances anyway. But yeah, could be anyone. The Nigerian lady could come in for the bronze. She's qualified, I think, second best on time.
And outside of that, Tony, just scanning down, we've got the final of the women's hammer, we've got the final of the men's long jump, and the women's 3,000 metre steeplechase as well. And if you can't get excited about a session of athletics like that, then we may as well choose something else like, I don't know, maybe
Bill
canoe
Tom.
slalom.
Yeah, definitely. No, I'm glad to have something, and we'll have to do a bit of catch up during the day today on what else the Kiwis did overnight.
Yeah, indeed. And the cycling started quite nicely as well. I managed to time that just perfectly to see the women's sprint team claim silver. So that's a look at our Chew the Fat hors d'oeuvre, the latest out of Paris 24. Looking forward to Maya Ramsden this evening and all of those great finals on tomorrow at the Stade de France.